Eden raised the question of the neutralized zone in East Germany and in West Germany with mutual inspection on both sides. Now the Russians have just put out a large paper on that subject indicating new interest in it. Would you give us your estimate of that, of the possibilities of using that to relieve tensions?
Well, at the time, and I'm trusting here strictly to memory, at the time this was brought up as sort of a test tube operation. There was going to be a certain area selected to see whether through inspection that everybody was carrying out his pledges and whether it could be extended to a greater area. Now, each one of these, of course, when proposed, has to be examined, as I mentioned a moment ago, with respect to the areas, the vital character or the critical character of the areas affected. And consequently, even a small one is very difficult to get initiated. But I personally believe that these things that we believe are absolutely necessary, that is, mutual inspection, are going to come about through some such evolutionary development that is envisioned in that kind of a proposal. And I believe that any time that we can get one that seems fair to both sides, we would entertain it, the idea very sympathetically and study it very earnestly.
Mr. President, Wilson of the Coles publication. The impending resignation of Secretary Humphrey tends to coincide with the difference in emphasis between you and him on matters of government spending. There are some people who think that represents the turning point in your administration. If you're getting a little new dealish, Secretary Humphrey, as a conservative, is leaving. Would you care to discuss that?
Well, first of all, I told you there was no resignation impending. I said he had been trying to go for a long time, but there was no official resignation, letter of resignation before me from any member of the cabinet. Now, I do know that sooner or later, Secretary Humphrey has to go. As far as the differences between him and me are concerned, that you have seen alleged or have heard alleged, why don't you ask him? Because I'm the one that has to make the decisions, and so far as I know, there is no difference whatsoever. In fact, the letter that he used as the base of his talk last January, at which he finally made the statement under questioning that under certain conditions you could have a depression. That letter he and I jointly prepared, and it was exactly what we meant.
Mr. President, Alan from New York, Sir, virtually all your Republican leaders in the Senate and the House have advocated cutting the budget far in excess of the maximum figure you sent in that letter to Speaker Rabin. I wanted to, with that as a premise, whether you feel the Republican leadership in Congress is giving your program and your budget the support you think it should have from them.
Well, with what bill are you talking about? You say a program, it's a very large thing.
I mean the total budget taken. They have put out, asked for a cut in the total budget of in excess of $3 billion as opposed to your $1.8 billion.
I put it this way, no one has come to me and recommended that. And I tell you again exactly what I told you before. If you're going to talk about that kind of a sum, you've got to pick programs or services that are going to be curtailed. You're not going to find that kind of money just in squeezing up on some administrative detail and things of that kind. You've got to find the programs.
President of the UP, can I get back a moment to your saying that your TV report to the people encompasses so many subjects that you might have to make two? Do you envision two nationwide appearances very close together?
Oh, not very close together. No.
How long, sir, would you say?
Oh, I wouldn't know. You're getting trying to pin me down here, and I don't know. Yeah.
An old defeated foe of yours, Mr. Adley Stevenson, has expressed his willingness to serve in the government if he is called upon on a mission of peace. Have you ever considered calling on Mr. Stevenson, or do you foresee the possibility of a position for him in the government?
2 years ago, we urged Mr. Stevenson, well, I guess it was 3 years ago, we urged Mr. Stevenson to take a post in the United States delegation of the United Nations.
Mr. President, many critics have said, with all the distinguished visitors coming now, have you considered inviting President Lee of the Republican Korea or President John Hachette of the Republic of China, please?
Well, of course, President Rhee has been here since I have been in office. President Chiang Kai-shek has not. But his name hasn't come up recently, at least, and I don't recall it has before.
President, Robert Spivak, New York Post. Returning to Mr. Morgan's question earlier about the special tax privileges to oil companies, do I understand your answer to mean that you favor changing the law in regard to these privileges? And two, Senator Byrd said the other day that he regarded the rapid tax write-off to the Idaho Power Company as sort of a raid of sorts on the Treasury. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't know whether I agree with his statement. I do stand, though, on the statement I made a while ago, that I believe that the time is past when it is to the advantage of the United States to grant these fast write-offs to these great corporations, and except when the national security, the national welfare